have Craig Ouellette, who is going to talk to us about his fabulous film, Straight On Till Morning, which I originally thought was part of a Kate Bush song because, or a Peter Pan novel, but no, nothing of those things apply. Craig, welcome to the event.
Cool, thanks, anti-social. Do I call you anti or do I call you anti-social?
Oh, whatever makes you happier. You can be
Okay.
antisocial if you want to.
Well, yeah, if we have
You don't
to.
have to. Anti's fine. Hey, you, what's her?
Anti-social.
Yeah, what's her face works for me too. Something. Lady number four, that works. It's just
Lady number
7:70.
four.
Yeah, exactly. So tell me a little bit about you. Where did you originally grow up and learn your skills as a filmmaker?
Well,
Back
how
in the
long of the story do
day.
you want to hear?
Oh,
Yeah.
anything, because
Uh,
a lot of the people that watch the broadcast tend to be new and upcoming filmmakers their own self, and some of them have never started films and they want to learn how. So,
okay, all right. Uh, well, the shortest version of the story is that I grew up in Denver, Colorado till I was 11, and then Dallas, Texas after that. Went to college in Iowa, and then moved out to LA. Yeah, when I was growing up, we always would go see movies. Go see, probably 2 to 3 Saturdays a month. We would go have, Saturday night. We'd go out to eat, and then go see a movie. And then, of course, they'd drop us off at the movies all the time back when movies didn't
they
cost
were babysitters. Yeah,
$25.
movies were the best babysitters. You throw a kid in, here's your $5. See you later.
Perfect. Yeah. So we did that, and just grew up to love movies and TV and all the stuff that could be. And then in high school, I did a radio TV class, and when I was editing things together, and the first time some two shots came together and a new world was created, I thought, wow, this is amazing. People get paid to do this. And then I foolishly decided to be a director instead of just an editor. And
Just
here
an
we are,
editor.
independent movies.
Yeah.
I know, I'm kidding. And I've always been a writer, like ever since first or second grade was my first story, The Adventures of Legoland.
Were you one of
And
those kids that took the manila paper, folded it in half, stapled it, and put your story inside?
this was the extra big blocky ones with the dashed line down the middle, so you
Oh,
can get
yes.
your it's on those. I still have it with the my drawing of the spaceship on the front.
Oh, that's so
Um, and then so I wrote a bunch of stories growing up. They're all terrible, I'm sure.
they
But
were
that's
genius when you were a child.
genius. And between eighth grade, like March of eighth grade and the end of 11th grade, I wrote a 4,025 page handwritten sci-fi trilogy called The Last Ship from Earth. So I got the discipline of just creating, on a regular basis, probably 3 nights a week. Other kids might have been, watching TV or playing video games. I mean, I did that too.
Yeah.
Um,
Gotta
I
do
would,
your welcome
I'd be
back,
like,
Connors. No, you're way too young for that.
and I'd be like, oh, it's time to. I wanted to write. I wanted to tell the story. So I would sit in my room with the
Wait,
desk that
wait.
was.
Let me see your hand. Do you have the lump on your finger with the writing with the writing?
Oh, from back in the day, I
Yeah.
definitely did.
Okay.
Definitely had.
I
I
still have
used
mine.
Papermate erasable ink pens, which
Yes.
is. And this book is still at my dad's house in Texas, and still and it's in so many folders because I mean it's
Four
4,025 pages.
thousand pages.
I
Yeah.
mean it's like a foot tall when you stack it up. Um,
It's
and
part furniture,
so
part
yeah.
book. That's so cool. Did you
Right,
draw pictures
exactly.
in it, pictures in it to work with it, or just words?
No, just words.
So no
Never.
storyboarding.
No, no, no. Yeah, and never went back to. No, that was writing. That wasn't rewriting. And as I have, long since learned, it's like rewriting is writing. I mean, that is if you new folks, if you don't want to rewrite, you're not actually doing the job.
Yeah.
Like, because and honestly, I love that part of it. Like, I love the rewriting and rewriting and rewriting and like fine tuning things now. So.
Yeah. And like, oh, you discover something about your characters you never would have thought of if you didn't rewrite it. Yeah. Or
Right?
story
Yeah.
should have gone this way. Why didn't I think of that? Because I didn't rewrite it. Duh.
Yeah, and it's just like, and also like the first time around, it's like for me is discovering the story years ago because when I was like struggling to get through the first feature script, my friend Dan Kraus gave me this book called How to Write a Movie in 21 Days by Vicky King,
Hmm.
And it sounds a little hokey, but it's actually really interesting because it's basically just gives you a roadmap for coming up with a thing and then just vomiting out the first draft. Because that's where people get stuck.
Throwing a
They're like, I don't
treatment
know where it's
together
gonna
and
go.
just
Who
making it happen.
cares?
Yeah.
You write
It's
10
gonna get
pages
changed
today.
anyway. Yeah.
Yep. You stop, you walk away, you come back. Next day, you write another 10 pages or whatever the guidelines there are that she has. And I've used that many, many times to get the first draft out because then I get to go on an adventure
Yeah.
before I start like controlling the adventure and guiding the adventure.
That's
And yeah, it's great. It's great. It's so
Were
how to
you
write a
one of
movie in
those
20
kids that would like read those build your own adventure books or like on page
choose
4, if you like this answer, go to page 12.
for sure.
If
Yeah,
this
yeah,
answer, go to
choose your own
page
adventure.
25. That's what it reminds me of when you do rewrites. It's like,
Yeah, you're right. You're like, let's cut out these pages and go to
yeah,
the next one. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, for sure.
Cool.
Uh,
Well, so
that's that about sums up
the writing and stuff. Were you ever acting too, or did you just do the writing and just the writing and the directing? Like that's nothing.
well, in the editing and the producing.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
the uh, the answer is yes. In college, I somehow they had a student theater group. Even though I minored in theater, I never auditioned for a theater department play because I'm like, I'm not good enough for that. So I did this student theater group and met some of my best friends from college through that group. Actually, anyway, it doesn't matter. That's a
People
side
in the
story.
film, people that you work with, people that you know,
Yeah,
people that are famous.
the the aforementioned Dan Carson. I'm going to give Dan a bunch of props. Go see his
And
movie
you
Whale
rock.
Forward. Dan's amazing. Best-selling author. Check it out. Daniel Krauss. Shape
Really?
of Water. Thank him for the Shape of
That damn
Water.
crowd. Oh, yeah.
Daniel Krauss. Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't
Anyway,
suck.
look, I'm famous adjacent. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
Uh,
one step away from Kevin Bacon. So
yeah, take that. Take that, Kevin Bacon. I'm one step away from Sean Connery. No, I'm just kidding. Actually,
wonderful.
apparently he's a distant relative.
Oh, that's really wild.
I
Thank you,
found that
Gene
out
Pool.
last fall.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I
I'm
was
trying
like,
to think of
oh,
who's.
he's
Oh, I have a lot of hockey players in my gene pool because we're all
oh
Canadians up in Nova Scotia, up there in the Prince
oh
Edward Island
yeah.
and up there in Nova Scotia, up there.
All right, there we go. Enough
There we
famous people. Got me.
and then we
Oh,
did
and
move
by the
around a lot.
way,
Yeah, I
Steven
forgot to
Spielberg's my
name
uncle. No,
drop this one.
I'm not related to Steven Spielberg.
That you know of. Yeah.
Ah,
There's got to be one of his films. You're gonna have like 15 of his kids in it or something.
I
Hey,
know,
he's the
right?
next director of Goonies 16. Um,
Yes.
well, I wasn't supposed to tell
Goonies
that.
2. It'd be impossible. You can't remake Goonies. It'd be
Nah,
impossible.
but the idea that having those guys be in the film now would be amazing.
Oh, speaking of Goonies, uh, Josh Brolin is the dad in Whale Fall. My friend Dan's, I mean, he's this co-screenwriter and wrote the novel. Josh
Wow.
Brolin is the dad. So, just the other day, another friend said to him, he goes, "Could you imagine when you were a kid that actors from The Goonies and Karate Kid would be in your movie when you grew up?" It's like, the answer is amazing. So, there you
Hey, I
go.
went
Little
to
did you
school with Pee Wee Herman, so anything can happen in this world. So,
right? For sure.
he was so cool. He did our at Cal Arts. He did our reunion for one year, and he brought in an entire festival. He brought in a carnival wheel and a merry-go-round, and he bought everybody class rings. So Paul Rubens gave everybody class rings, and he only went for one year, I think. It was pretty cool.
Really?
Yeah, it was pretty
Hey,
cool.
you got that connection.
Yeah, a little connection with dead people. Um, dead
I see
people.
them.
Yes, all the
I see them every day.
time. Sometimes I talk to them. So,
They're
um,
they're behind you right now.
again, Mom. So, when you were moving around as a kid, is that because your family was military, or were they just like running from the cops, or?
Yeah, definitely running from the cops. My dad is definitely no, he's a gangster. No, just job. He got transferred to. I was actually born in Texas and then transferred to Colorado when I was less than a year old for his job, and he could have gone to California. It's like he could choose Denver or LA were his
It
two
could have saved
choices.
you money.
Right? Same it. Well, yeah, but then I would have grown up in LA. Like I love LA, but like I'm very glad that's not the only place I've lived in my life. Because a lot of people start there and they're like, "There's nothing better," and I'm like, "Well, you haven't been anywhere. Like
Yeah, no
maybe you should
kidding.
get
Well,
around."
I was about to say that. That's one of the things that probably makes your writing so much more interesting is that you have been to places. So you
I
understand
hope
there's
so. I
more than
do.
one perspective on planet Earth.
Right? Exactly. It's like I love traveling. I mean, right now I'm in Sydney, Australia for the Sydney Film Festival. So it's like love traveling and love seeing new cultures and different cultures and seeing how they overlap and how different they are, but yet how ultimately humans are humans and they all kind of want the same things. It's like and it's an amazing perspective when you get out of the country. Not that Australia is that different from the United States, since
Yeah.
everyone in Sydney is like, well, Sydney is pretty much like LA and San Francisco combined. And I'm like, yep, that's pretty much what Sydney
Yeah,
is.
the traffic
Uh,
and the shopping malls. Yep.
yeah, right. And
Yep.
the bridges over the bay.
Oh yeah.
Um,
But
but
that opera house, oh man.
that right now they have it lit up for this thing called Vivid Sydney. So it's like laser lights and projections all over the side of it at night, and the bridge is like LED lights, and there's the whole city lights up. I mean, it's crazy.
That's
Like
nice.
it's like
And
a
it's
whole
fall there
citywide
too.
light fest celebration that's just free. Just like, hey, enjoy it.
That's
You know.
nice.
So,
Koala's not necessary. Well,
yep.
you write one of the things I like about your writing. One of the things I did spend quite a bit of time going through your YouTube Craigo film and going
Yes,
through
Craig.
your zombie PSAs. Quite a few.
Oh yeah. Hey, somebody watched them.
If there's four views, I'm one. So no. One of the things I really like is there's almost everything you've shown on that channel has got strong women in it.
Hell yeah. Yeah,
Yeah. Were
for
you
sure.
raised by a ballsy broad, or you just had them all around you, or you just kind of appreciate
Uh,
the
uh,
both
my
put to life?
my mom was amazing. She was fantastic. I don't know that she was a warrior woman like Ripley and Sarah Connor and Buffy, but I just listed off three of my
Oh,
favorite
there you
characters.
go. I was gonna say,
Um, uh, but super, super loving, super supportive, super amazing. So ever since really college, and I've always been like, it's like if I can put a female lead in the movie, I'm going to put a female lead in the movie. So like anytime I'll think of a story, I'll be like, and what if it was a woman?
yeah.
And then it's like it almost immediately goes, that's the story I'm going to tell. And maybe it's because, it's like super masculine kind of bro energy I'm just like, that's not me. Like, I'm not, I can appreciate a story about that and about the challenges of, masculinity and what that means.
Being
But
on trees and
I'm,
eating burnt meat. Yeah.
yeah, but I'm definitely more interested in stories about women and female stories, and probably maybe it's because I'm like I want to understand this extremely
What's in their
complicated
heads?
what is a woman. Um, but and maybe it's because Aliens and Alien and the Terminator are favorite movies, and so it's like well let's mimic that. But also I think it has to do with it's like I'm aware that I am the straight white male in power situation. So it's like I want to support and I love the
Don't
underdog.
hate me. I write for women.
I know, right? It's like don't hate me. But I also like I mean underdog stories are my favorite stories. Like I argue that the first Terminator. I mean I love Terminator too, but I argue the first Terminator is the better film because you have a human against an unstoppable force versus two superheroes. Because
Yeah.
Terminator 2 is a superhero film. You have
Yes,
two
two
superheroes.
big budget people against each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas Linda
And while
Hamilton
that
against the world was kind of cool.
yeah, and I think that's really like I like that story too, but it's like I've always been attracted to the underdog story, maybe too much. And maybe that's growing up seeing The Karate Kid, growing up seeing Goonies, but I like and maybe it's because I always, I always felt even though I always felt a little bit like an outsider. I mean, I was a nerdy kid and I mean, nowadays nerd culture rules the world
I know my
and
people are we are finally have arrived.
we are free.
We can play our
And
video games in public now with little machines in your hands. It's great.
right? And it's like we could play video games, we could play, nerd culture. It's like, I mean,
We can play
superheroes
Dungeons and
and
Dragons.
Right? We can play it online, and I was in I saw that it went to Dances with Films New York, and they went to go see uh,
20-sided
uh,
tavern.
20 Saturday Tavern. I was going to say D20 Death Match, but that's another awesome D&D thing. Um, 20 Sided Tavern, and it's like you're in this whole place and people like voting for the choices of the characters, and it's all. I mean, and you're like,
We've
this
interviewed
is
William Champion and we interviewed Alex Murray, both from that show. So
that's fun.
I'm a
Such a fun show.
big fan. And
So,
yeah,
so yeah,
Baldur's Gate
so
cast, yeah, all these people. So all of
and
my
that,
tribe is here.
yay. So, but definitely growing up, it's like, I mean, it wasn't like
Yeah.
severe bullying to the point of anything, but I got picked on for being a nerd. I got, my lunch literally stolen out of my locker in high school like multiple times.
We
Like
were left in the locker in place of your
never
lunch.
got put in, never got put in the locker, but I
That's
definitely
an
it was,
experience.
yeah. So I think that underdog, and and I would like whenever and this relates to Straight On Till Morning and being a queer story too, is it's like I whatever like I want everybody to be on the same playing field. I
Yeah.
want everybody to have the same level of choices and rights, and I hate the fact that there's any piece or part of humanity that isn't
Because my cat and dog fight behind me. Yeah.
yeah right isn't allowed to, and it is sort of allowed to, and it's like why
It's
does anybody get to
tolerated,
allow
but not tolerated. You know what? That's what I
yeah
don't like. It's like people get that it's there, but they don't like accept the fact that it's there. What if you said to somebody, "Yeah, we're 10, I can remember back in the day in Boston in 1968. I mean, we had black and white couples in our family, and people would just look at us like we were from Mars.
yeah
It's like, what is wrong
right.
with you people?
I always just appreciate like my dad, my mom and stuff growing up. It's like it was just never a thing. Like they were always nice to everybody. They just were welcome to everybody. And you don't realize how much that, probably bleeds into who you are. The fact that they aren't saying this about that person or this person or whatever and stuff. And it wasn't like when I moved to Texas, there was a little bit of stuff of where, not them,
Were
but
you in
around me.
Austin area, which is the
Uh,
normal part of Texas, or were you
in
someplace
Dallas,
else? Oh, okay, okay.
in Dallas, which is actually a lot.
It's more citified than a lot of the rest of Texas.
Yeah, it's
That's for
it's
sure.
more it's much more cool and welcoming than people would say. But I also have the experience I have.
Yeah.
Like, I have one of the actors in Straight On to Morning. He's gay and he lives in Austin. And I don't know why I'm pointing this direction. He's not right in
Because
my face.
Austin, right there. It's right
Austin's right over
South by
here.
Southwest.
Uh,
Yeah.
and
How about Southwest?
he's loved it for a while. But I was just talking to him on the phone the other day, and he's like, "We're moving." He's
Mm,
like, we can't be here anymore. And it's like, and that's like, I mean, there was a rally of folks with American flags using them in a non-positive way, in my opinion,
yes.
driving down their street, and his husband was just walking there, and the guy literally pulled out a gun and pointed it at him.
See, I'm
And
a
I was just,
veteran, and I
that's not, that's not
trans.
cool.
No, it's not. Trans veteran friends, gay
Uh-huh.
veteran friends, and it makes me insane that now we have a whole culture of people that like, oh, that's not supposed to happen. What?
Yeah, and it's
Mentality makes you think that somebody else doesn't have a right to live just because you think so. You know?
yeah, exactly. And it's like, and I get it. Like, there's all sorts of, cultures and traditions around the world that maybe I don't understand.
Yeah,
Like maybe I don't understand why this something is important to someone, but it doesn't mean that it's any less or more valid than some other culture. It's like, cool, well then I need to learn about it. I need to
exactly.
try to understand it, right? I need to and like, so, I mean, Straight On to Morning, it's like, well, it's a queer story. It's definitely not a preachy queer story, I
No,
hope.
no.
Like, it's like, it's just part of the fabric of the story. Because it's like, I mean, I mean, I love James Cameron. James Cameron, I love you. You are have made many of my favorite movies. But like,
I love the faith that you
you know,
have that he's going to watch this.
yeah, James Cameron's going to
James,
watch this. I love you,
we're
James
talking
Cameron.
about Linda and James. Okay.
Yeah, but like, it's like when things get more about the preachiness, I guess, than the story when it comes
Yeah.
to a movie. It's a fine line,
Yeah.
right? Because
And you could
it's
have
like,
stepped, I mean, there's lots of opportunities where you could have headed into the direction of, going over that line, but fortunately, You did not.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah, and you know, some of that it's like is listening to feedback during the writing and editing stages. I mean, Bonnie Jean Tyre right here, one of the leads and one of the producers, she was very helpful because she's a lesbian and she was very helpful in guiding, you know, with her experience. Like she's like, I don't think you need as much of that.
Mm.
She's like, we're gonna get it.
Good
Like,
for
and
you.
it's like,
Good.
yeah.
And it's good
And
that you're able to take that from the actors because a lot of directors are like, no, what I say is what I say.
like, yeah.
I don't think you learn things that way, but okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's an interesting like there's something that the Daniels said in an interview where they're like was about welcoming, you know, welcoming everybody's because I've always been a fan. It's like if the good idea comes from the PA, great. Like I don't care where it comes from. The good idea is the good idea. Like let's make the best movie we can. Like that's the goal.
Yeah, it's a team
But
project.
like yeah, but like listening to to everybody on the team and like what's that? And it doesn't, you know, you're filtering it through your own
View
view
of
of
what
what
you
this
want to
movie
happen.
should be,
Sure.
you know. Because there are times where it's like you might disagree about something. And one of the things about Straight Out Till Morning is it's like I was trying to make a movie that appealed to both audiences, both a straight audience and a queer audience.
Yeah.
And that's a balancing
And
act
you have
because it's
representation on both sides.
yeah,
Yeah.
and like you know, like besides Bonnie, there's other actors in the movie that are queer, uh, other people on the crew that are. Almost everybody has some connection to. They either have like you know a family member who is, friends who are.
Yeah.
Like you know, our sound guy's son is trans, and you know, and so a lot of people were there because they're like, hey, this is great. We get a story that is,
Mhm.
you know representing and tells a queer story that's not uh, beating it over the head
Yeah.
because it's like even you know I don't want to put words in Bonnie's mouth but it's like there are times where she's like you know it's like all right enough of this one queer story like there's a trillion of them because in some ways it's like why and I was just talking to a filmmaker here at Sydney about this and she was making a movie she's like just have a queer character in the movie. Like it doesn't have to be like,
Yeah.
oh hey,
You
by
don't
the way,
gotta label it.
me. Yeah, it's like it's literally just like,
There's
oh,
my
you just
t-shirt.
happen to be yeah, you
Yeah.
happen to be a superstar or a super spy, and you
Uh,
just happen to be and
yeah.
that's just the thing. And it's like it's not even and because I think the more that you know, we see those stories and see stories about, a woman in a power position or whatever the story may be that you say, well, that's not traditionally
Yeah,
a
when it's
whatever.
finally made into not a big deal, everybody gets it. It's not a big deal.
It's just you literally don't even you're just like cool. And I feel like that's when you reach closer to the point of like, oh, we all are now on the same playing field. We're all equal. We all have those powers because people don't even and it doesn't mean that you don't see it because there's no way to not see it.
Right.
You know, there's but it's and sense of like I'm sliding over into racial relations right there where it's like, there's some people it's like I don't see color and it's like, well, I mean, yes, we're all different. There's elements like you can't
Yeah.
pretend like, but how does that? Great, cool. Now we're all equal. Like,
Right.
how do we make that where we're all like, I don't know if I explained that very
Well,
well.
the other thing is that as a disabled person, as a GIMP, as I call myself, the people don't notice that I'm gimpy unless I have my cane or my wheelchair. And then suddenly it's
Uh,
a thing with them. Like suddenly like they had
oh,
no idea my entire 61 years of planet Earth that I had been
uh,
off somehow until
yeah, and how
mentally.
does I mean, how does that make it like, when somebody do you feel like they start treating you differently when it's like, oh, and it's like and is that obviously I can tell from your expression how that probably makes you feel, but like, how does that,
Oh, it's
it,
so funny. I mean, literally dated people that have been like, this is great, this is fun, this is great. And then, they see, oh, you have a wheelchair in the corner. Who's that for? It's for me. What? Yeah, I have a bone disease and my bones pop out and dislocate sometimes. And I'm Cirque du Soleil, the home game. And a lot of people get that and they laugh, which I
yeah,
appreciate.
yeah.
And a lot of people just go, or like I'm doing stand up and I have poses where my body dislocates. And Jim Carrey and I used to do this at the Comedy Store in LA 100 years ago. We used to do a freak off where he would bend a bone and I would bend a bone and we would do this whole big thing. And by the end of it, I would be wrapped in a pretzel. He would be wrapped in a pretzel. He was always funnier looking than me, so he got the best laughs. But yeah, Day I have people that come up to me and go, "You're the freak off with Jim Carrey." Yep, that's me. That's me.
Yeah, it sounds like you're also using it in some ways as a superpower, as to be like, yeah, here's,
Rule
for
number
for
one, if you don't laugh about stuff, you cry about stuff. And who wants to spend all day crying about stuff? I mean, you do that, you work in the White House. But
Um,
again, making it part of everyday life. That's one of the things I very much appreciated. The very first of all, it's definitely a love story.
yep.
And it's definitely a horror story. And all of that in between. The photography is stunning. Your DP is awesome. The first moments of the film, you hear this voice, and I had tears ripping down my face because that voice was stellar, and I had no idea that the actress Kelsey there was actually
Uh,
singing.
yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
God, where did you find this human?
Yeah, Kelsey is amazing. Kelsey Christian. I'm in front of her face.
Oh
There she
yeah,
is.
there she is.
It's all Kelsey. She looks so happy in
Looks
this.
great. Yeah.
Thing.
Her
Um,
embryonic stage.
right. Um, yeah, Kelsey's amazing. This movie took a long time to make, um, and she auditioned via Zoom. She lives in Nashville and does acting and singing in Nashville. She sings with the symphony there,
Oh,
and
wow.
is a music teacher, vocal
The
coach.
dame has chops for sure.
Yeah, she sure does. And one of the things with the character of Danny, it's like she's a musician in the movie, and many of the songs in the movie are original songs that we wrote for the movie that she is singing.
Yeah.
So I wanted somebody who was a great actress and also a great singer because there's also times where she's singing because I
Acapella.
mean, yeah, a cappella, the words to songs in performance, like
Yeah.
not just like I'm on stage performing. It's in the emotion of the scene,
Mhm.
and like you can dub over somebody's like I'm singing on stage and I'm a good singer, but it's like I'm like no, this is like integrated into what happens so much. I needed somebody who was both, which made it a lot harder to cast her.
Oh,
Um,
she's
but
a
when she
fine.
and it's one thing if you have all the money in the world, you're just like, well, cool, yeah, let's just get Lady
Oh,
Gaga and we'll be
Adele.
good,
Yeah. Lady Gaga. Where are you? Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But so yeah, so we're so happy when finally after years of searching, and this movie had different iterations and different people, whatever, over the years. But when she sent in her tape, I'm like, I think I just saw Danny, and then yeah, and then I made her,
Well, the
audition
one,
multiple times and callbacks and chemistry reads and all that because I feel like especially in a love story if you don't have chemistry you got nothing.
it's gonna be nothing. Yeah. Now the brilliance I also thought was just sublime. I'm using my fancy words. Um, every musician is gonna see one section of this film and say, "Up, they found me." Handing out your CDs or MP3s to people left and right. They like your music. That is one thing that I appreciated so much. Selling your swag at your $5, a set gig. You know,
Yeah.
totally
Well,
was into that. As a drummer in a Pearl Jam fan, I was totally into that.
yeah, right. It's like, and it's funny because like the movie takes place, most of the movie takes place in 2009, um, and some people have asked like why 2009, and there's multiple reasons. One is actually that's when I met the co-writer Neil
I was gonna say
McLaughlin.
it had to be a start of something.
That's when the movie started. Like we started, like he had the first draft of this in 2009,
Nice.
and here we are in 2025. So that tells you how long it took to make the movie. Um, and but So that's part of it. But part of it is also like uh, that element of handing out CDs and things. It's like that was we're switching over into streaming. Things are just changing in
Yeah,
that way.
you
And
tell people your
also.
Spotify link, and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, no one's gonna hand you a CD
There's no
anymore, except for
mixtapes
on the
anymore.
street of Hollywood.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
handing you
Exactly.
CDs. Um, the the Another thing is it's I mean you can't see it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Phone.
I
Put it
love.
in the phone.
Oh, hopefully you didn't see that message. What was it? No, I'm
No,
just
I
kidding.
have no idea. I won't. I won't.
Uh,
I'll cut it out if I
no,
did.
it's I was just joking. But yeah, it's like smartphones are boring.
Yeah.
I mean, they can be an interesting tool in a movie, but in general, like I don't need to see people texting in a movie.
Yeah.
Like it's so boring.
It's lazy
And I
writing to me.
think,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like I've seen it done well, where it's like they're popping the things on the buildings and stuff like that. Like it's like okay, you're using it as part of the fabric of the landscape, and that's okay.
Like
But
a
that's
comic
not
book.
what this.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
a comic book. In fact, I was literally thinking about
That's
Miss
but
Marvel
Miles.
when I was saying
Yeah,
that.
that's yeah. That went into my head.
Uh,
Okay. Yeah.
uh, but it's just this story is so much about connection,
Mhm.
and love, and love is the motivation for the good and the bad that happens in this movie, and it's so much about human connection.
Yeah.
And while the smartphone, and I mean, we're literally talking on Zoom,
Yeah,
like
exactly. This is the
it is
antisocial person. That's why I'm on Zoom. So-
right. And it's like it can be such a great tool for connection. And I mean, I posted about this film festival, and somebody was like, "Oh my God, I met you 6 years ago at a screening of War and Peace at the Egyptian. I live in
Wow.
Australia. Let's hang out." And I'm like, "Yeah, hell yeah."
Right
And
on.
but there's something that's not what Straight Out to Morning. Straight Out to Morning is about like the immediacy of being together. That's so important. And also, frankly, it's how hard is it when you can say, find my phone, and then you like call 911, boom, oh well, there you go, problem
End
solved.
of story. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like every single horror movie that takes place in modern times, you have to address the smartphone.
Yeah.
They have to
Well,
be like,
we
oh, we got
cannot
no
get a
service in
signal.
here.
Yeah. Where is my signal?
Oh,
My
and
signal's
it's
being
like,
taken over by a ghost. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, it's just like,
She says
I'm
with the
like, okay,
aurora borealis behind her. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
right. So it's it's that's part of why it's in 2009, because it's about human connection, and
And
also
you
it's
don't want to
there's
be
something nice about that. It's like before things became.
so
I mean, it's
predictable.
not really. Things were at hyperspeed in 2009. Hey, guess what, everybody? It's always been at hyperspeed. The
Yeah.
hyperspeed just keeps getting faster.
I still have a typewriter.
You
And
and
I still
Stephen
remember
King.
ASDFG semicolon. Because we're old. When
Get hard. I get hard.
when you were writing for the mother character, I'm not going to tell anything about the movie. That is not my job. That's your job, not mine. Um, I just want to know that maternal love. I thought there was a lot of echoing between the love stories, the maternal love and the love between the women. But there's so much echoing of, why people were doing what they were doing and how they were doing what they were doing. But regardless, the answer is always the four-letter L word.
Yeah.
And, no other L word mattered at that point. Um, was that your intent, or was there something you wanted to push even further than that?
Yeah, for me, it's like this is. I know this says love is scary because
Yeah.
love is
Well,
scary,
it's a great website click too.
right? And
Loveis.com. Just saying.
there it is, lovescary.com. Everybody check it out. Watch the trailer. Sign up for the newsletter.
There you go.
Um, the Another tagline that I really like is this is a love story, because the whole thing is a love story in the sense that uh, there's romantic love, there's paternal love, there's maternal love, it's all like everybody's doing everything in this movie because of love.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is how love can be twisted into something evil and dangerous, and love can be, used for something that's positive and good.
And it can be
Um,
taken on in a moment, which I thought was brilliant too.
Thank you. Yeah, and so it definitely was always when I read the first draft that Neil had. It's like I still have that printout, and on the front of it I wrote romance is scary, and that over the course of time, is falling in love is scary, love is scary. It's like it's like, well, that is the thing. So it's like this is an exploration of the beautiful and terrible things that people do
Mhm.
for love. And I think that fascinated me for all these years. And I'm like, well, hopefully it fascinates other people too. Just sort of, it definitely doesn't cover every base,
Yeah.
like there's a million other love horror stories that can happen. But that was always the goal.
Yeah, you feel with the characters, not at the characters. Like a lot of films, you'll be. side by side with them in the story, and you're just like, they thought that, they thought that. You don't think anything. But with these characters, you're like, I could feel that. Yeah,
Good.
which I really
Yay.
loved. I love the male characters, however, they also have a love story going on in a strange kind of way.
Uh-huh.
Which I didn't expect, honestly, because I started to see it one way and I realized, nope, I'm seeing it the wrong way. This is not the way it's supposed to be. And I won't say this on camera. I will say this off camera. But yeah, there's definitely a love story going on between the male characters, which I thought was very deep and much bigger than the film is even kind of hinting at in some ways.
Are you talking about the father and son or the
Yes, I'm talking about the
yeah,
father and son. Yes, specifically. But
yeah.
also the other there's one other character that's involved. It's
Uh,
male, has
yeah,
a connection
Daryl, Caitlin's
partner there. Yeah.
partner,
Her,
yeah.
yes.
So,
Her ball and
uh,
chain. That's fine.
yeah, right, definitely.
Yeah.
Um, well, yeah, because that's part of the thing too, is it's like, and hopefully I'm successful at this, that that in a movie like this, I never want to do it where it's like you're just like, like man bashing or like just like, oh well, this is good, but these are all bad. And it's like, there's definitely conflict. There's definitely men
Yeah.
doing terrible,
And
terrible things in
you
this
could
movie.
come so close to that edge and just go right over that side, but you caught it right before it got there, which was
Oh,
great.
good. Yeah, because it's like I definitely want to, and you were being big on purpose, folks. There's, definitely wanted to dance that line, and then early on in the movie we get to meet Danny's bandmates, and they're, you see a positive, very positive version of a man into masculinity in a good way.
Yeah.
So, but it was thought about because I'm like, hey, well, over the course of writing this, it's like, I don't want to go into that territory because I don't think that, I mean, if you're bashing one side or the other, or one group or another, and
A
again,
them
even
and
if
us movie and not a connection movie. And you don't want
yeah, and it's like
it wasn't going to be a them and us movie.
yeah, it's not supposed to be a them and us movie, and it's like you can, absolutely have characters in the movie that are terrible because I think there's a challenge right now. I'm seeing movies, especially at film festivals, and some of these, are really good movies, but where it's just like everyone's just like, there's like, where's the drama? Because we're trying to, possibly, I'll use the term represent this like positive world that we all want it to be. Like
Yeah.
that's the thing. We all want this to be this world where everyone like, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to listen to your issues and I'm going to consider them and then do the thing."
Yeah.
But it's like, but not does that does not make drama.
Yeah.
And ultimately, the movies aren't as strong. So it's like, how do we do that where we have, some characters that represent what is, we'll say the ideal of what we're looking for, whatever the filmmaker is trying to say about human connection. Like how do we have characters that represent that while also having strong drama and tension and suspense and because it's like if everyone's just getting along, kumbaya on a on a movie, it's like you like it's boring.
Yeah. You
And
just
so so
play
it's
the
one of those things.
violin. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like I think that's a challenge for filmmakers is it's like how do we have stories that are thick with drama and thick with conflict and suspense and tension. I mean, I love the suspense and tension is my favorite thing. Um, while also saying, no, here's this is the bad side of it, that causes all of this stuff, and
Mhm.
either the characters learn from it or grow from it, or maybe they don't, but there's some other character in here that can characters that can represent a more idealized version of what we're going for. So anyway, I'm glad I appreciate you picking up on that. I'm glad that came through
It
on
was so hard I mean, I thought the son was probably one of the sweetest characters. And I will say that. And I'll say nothing else about
Virgil.
that. I will say
Yeah,
nothing else
Virgil.
about that. He was one of the sweetest characters for many,
Yeah,
many
it is. Oh, good. Well, we'll just let that mystery go in. But yeah, it's definitely there was work put into that character to make him not be just what you think he is.
yeah,
You
because
know,
he could have
it's
been
like, oh,
completely
this kind of
different.
character we've seen him before, and then
Yeah.
it's like
Mm,
Okay, so
so
then
much
what do we?
that. Yeah, yeah. That was originally when I was like, oh, oh, yeah, pretty much that was.
Yeah,
Um,
we were definitely trying to play with uh, some of the genre conventions that you're familiar with, and then try and knock some of the things on their head and twist them around and do this or that, so that it's because it's the whole thing. It's like it is a romantic horror movie, so it's like how do you give the audience that stuff that we want to see in a horror movie, and that tension and the scary people and the monsters and the trapped and all that stuff. Like how do we do all that while also trying to do something different? Because it's like how many times can you watch Jason walk into
right.
a camp? It's boring. I'm sorry, filmmakers that make Friday the 13th. The first one, great,
Yeah. Same
and
with the,
then it
yeah.
just slowly goes down.
And then, when Robert Englund was doing his Friday the 13th, that they were great for punchlines. But it's like we get what you're getting to. It's the
Yeah,
get that
right.
big thing you're trying to get to. So everybody goes, there it is. There's the thing we were waiting for. It's waiting for that chorus and that song that the band is singing. That's basically
Yeah.
it. Um, but this wasn't like that.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I say nothing.
Please note, I didn't say it. Antisocial.
It's
It's
me. It's me. I do love Robert Englund, though. I got to tell you that.
I do too. I mean, like, and of
Absolutely.
course, the Nightmare on Elm Street movies are so inventive
Witty.
and creative
And he's
that,
so witty. I
yeah.
love anybody who writes comedy but doesn't know, doesn't let the audience in on the fact that this whole thing is really comedy and it's really comedy. Um, who are your favorite horror makers, or do you have any? Is
Oh
horror
my goodness.
that trope your preferred? Because I've seen some of your stuff with the zombies and I've actually played a zombie in a movie before, so
Well, what was the
I
movie?
know
Let's
it's a
see
typecast, but it's what we do.
it. Um, well, I love horror and sci-fi, and I mean I love things that are suspenseful on the edge of your seat. Like that's my favorite kind of movies. So if I start listing off Aliens
Yeah.
and the
The very first
Terminator,
time you saw Raiders of the Lost Ark, I mean,
Raiders of the
everybody
Lost, and
saw,
that's the thing. Die Hard. I mean, Die Hard is a thriller with a bunch of action in it. It's
yeah,
not actually an action movie, it's according to the screenwriters, and that's why it's so good.
yeah.
And Seven, or I mean, Back to the Future. I mean, remember the first time you saw Back to the Future, or the 16th or the 20th time that you saw it. It's like how exciting that movie is. You're just on
Right.
the edge of your seat, even
See, I'm
though
that way with
at this
Brazil.
point,
Brazil's one of my movies like that. I've seen it,
yeah.
has to be over 100 times. I'm sorry, my headphones keep slipping, but it's just still one of my favorite movies. 'Cause-
Yeah, and it's like it's like I mean, I saw a 70 millimeter print of Aliens like a year and a half ago at the Egyptian Theater and packed house, and I mean, I've seen Aliens 100 times. I mean, I've seen it so many times, and it's like it was absolutely incredible,
you,
and like
you would
it
appreciate
is.
this. You would.
uh
I got to work with Mr. David Fincher on Alien 3. So
Oh, hey, I DJ'd his daughter's 12th birthday party.
that's so cool. I knew him when he was dating Paula Abdul. Hey.
Hey, deep down, you worked with
Now
him
we
on
all
Alien
now we have
3.
the same connection to David Fincher.
Yeah, yeah, love you, David.
He's a good guy. He was a great guy for
So
us.
you're working on Alien 3, and I
Yep.
feel like there was a story. Oh, that is the story.
That was the whole story. No, I
Oh,
could tell.
you weren't gonna say it. You were-
No,
Okay.
actually, I was going to do a Sigourney Weaver story, then I forgot what it was because I'm old. So, I was
Um,
thinking, yeah, the Alien 3 thing.
but yeah, as far as like horror, so suspense is the thing. So it's like I love horror movies, like action movies that are suspenseful, even dramas that are because like you take Requiem for a Dream, right? I mean, I love Requiem for a Dream, and it's like you could argue it's a horror film.
Yeah.
It's so horrific, but it's like that thing is just like it's just like this relentless,
Willy Wonka is
driving.
a horror film if you look at it the right way. I mean,
Um, and so it's like as far as but like you ask about horror filmmakers, it's like I mean. It's tough because it's like I like it's the movies, the movies because like John Carpenter, I mean, The Thing is incredible.
The Thing is one of the
Um,
best movies ever made by
yeah,
far.
it's absolutely incredible. I love The Thing, and it's like, and I respect Halloween, like
Mhm.
for the fact that at its time it was so revolutionary and interesting, and it's like, and I can enjoy it still, but it's not like one
Now
of my
they're up to
faves.
Halloween, not Alzheimer's. I mean, come on.
That'll be a great one,
Yeah.
and
That would be the one I'd watch.
um, and I mean, I love The Fly. The Fly. I love. Hostel, Wolf Creek.
Memento.
I mean, I love From Dusk Till Dawn and Planet Terror. Not that Planet Terror is really, I mean, it's a horror movie, but it's also a comedy. Um, but like, yeah, it's because there's so many different. I mean, David Fincher. It's like, I mean, I argue that Seven is a horror film.
Seven is
I mean,
definitely a horror film.
yeah, it's like it's a serial killer movie. It's like a horror movie that's hidden in a serial killer movie. And
Yeah.
that's like,
Yeah.
um, so love that. So yeah, I thought Hereditary was fantastic. You
And now
know,
you're around the world meeting other filmmakers. Have you been doing this for other films, or just is this the first one that you've been going around and doing the festival circuit with?
there back in the day there was some odd, festival here and there type of thing, but since 2020, I had a short film strip that I
With the
made
dollar
sort of.
sign for the us people, if you want to look it
Yeah,
up. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
which makes it easy and impossible to search for because every search engine thinks it's called Trip. So
Ah,
like on IMDb, it says I am the director of Trip, and it's like some movie that has nothing to do with it. Anyway, but Strip just had its streaming premiere on Bloody Bites on Screambox and Screambox TV, literally on the 6th, and it will be coming out on. I'll be putting it up on the YouTube channel here in a couple weeks, but.
right on.
Um, it's and it played at Portland Horror. It actually
Mhm.
won the makeup at Portland Horror, and so starting with that in 2020, then that ran, and then we shot the opening of Straight Onto Morning as well as a couple other scenes, one that's in the movie and one that was completely cut out of the movie in 2018.
Uh,
As part of an attempt to shoot the first part of the movie to make raise the money for the rest of it, whatever, super long story why it didn't go through as planned.
mm.
Uh, we shopped it around for money, the opening sequence, because that was the thing, and people thought it was really well done, but then they were like, I don't know, who wants to watch a lesbian movie? Like literally, that's what somebody said. And I'm like, everybody wants to
Yeah.
watch
What country are you from? Oh, what planet? Earth?
this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Really?
and uh, so in 2021, I added some bookends to that and kind of made it a standalone short. So
Hmm.
it tells a slightly different story than what's in the movie. Actually, a very different story than
Well, the
what's
very
in.
start of the movie seems like it's going to be an entirely different movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. And so that opening got turned into a short called Anniversary, and then
Ah,
that and Strip were touring around at the same time. So it was really fun. Sometimes they both get into a festival, so I get to go and support both movies.
nice.
And then I made a Western short with Bonnie. She has this Western queer Western series. It's changed names a few times. I think we're back to The Return, and about this, she plays Jagged Jane Jurnip, a
That's a
Western.
great name.
It's a great name, right? Um, and so she's produced and stars in, and it's did that, and then she wanted to have different directors for different episodes. So she asked me that before we shot Straight Onto Morning to do one of them, and
Testing
so
you
but
out
we
there.
shot this, and then made shot Straight Onto Morning, and then I edited that, and then
Nice.
uh, I said I could shoot it before we do Straight Onto Morning, but there's no way I can edit this before we leave, and so that played at festivals as well. So that was really fun to go around with that. So the answer is like Straight Out the Morning is the first like narrative feature that's played at festivals.
Mhm.
I have a feature documentary about my mom's battle with cancer as well
Yeah,
that played Slandance and
that was hard to watch. Yeah, but
yeah.
beautiful. But yeah,
Uh, so you got to meet my mom if
yeah.
you watch she get you got to meet her a little bit. So
And
that's
your
on
journey in the
YouTube.
jungle with the gorillas too.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, you really have seen it all.
I
Like,
told you. I do a
yeah,
little.
you went down the Craigo film rabbit hole.
I
That's the long answer to your question about. So fortunately for the last 5 years, there's been a lot of film festivals, meeting a lot of really cool filmmakers, seeing all sorts of amazing movies, and all sorts of movies that I respect that they got made, but they may not be my cup of tea.
Mhm.
Um, and just like it's been really fun, and it's like I love that Straight On to Morning is playing at Portland Horror because I love Portland Horror. I had a great time when I was there in 2021, and it just happens to be like literally the screening is the day after the second screening in Sydney, and I was like trying to figure out, I'm like, well, if I fly home, because when you take off from Sydney, when you land
Coming,
three
yeah,
hours
that's
before
right.
you
You're
take
time
off.
traveling.
And I'm like, if I get to the thing, and I'm just like, I mean, maybe like I can get there in time, but
And then you'd
so
be like this. I
yeah.
need you. Yeah.
Um, So unfortunately, I won't be able to make Portland Horror, but enjoy myself down here in Sydney. And then, but Bonnie will be at the Portland Horror screening, as well as one of the other producers, Max Solomon, who lives up in Portland.
That's really
So
cool. That I mean, and when you connected with these people, did you connect with them all on other projects, or were they through auditions, or were they through, just happened to meet them? Hi,
I mean,
Actors
it's
Express.
right. Yeah. Some of the actors came through auditions. Maria Olsen, who plays
Oh,
Lily in the movie.
and I've seen her in so many things. Yeah.
Yeah, she's in a ton of horror movies. She's
Yeah.
great. And she auditioned. She actually auditioned in 2010 when we tried to make this movie in
And I didn't
2010.
realize she was South African. I
Yeah, right.
I had no clue. I was like, from everything I've seen her in, she's either played a very Southern woman or not.
I
So,
know. It's funny because when she auditioned, and she has no idea what the accent was she was doing when she auditioned back in the day. Uh, she was doing so. I couldn't peg the accent. I couldn't figure out where it was from because she wasn't. It was like South African, and she just recently moved from England or something. So it was
yeah,
like this weird British South African accent.
kind of
And
off
man,
Soweto West.
I know, and I'm like, I really want you to do that accent. She goes, well, I don't know what I was doing by the time we actually shot the
Oh,
movie
that's funny. Yeah.
because so many years later. And two, obviously, I mean, it's like, why on earth does Lily have a South African accent? Um, but
Yeah, I guess that one, yeah.
she
I've
was
been
great.
on
But like,
Tinder. That's why.
but like Bonnie came from yeah. Spoiler alert, sometimes as independent filmmakers, you may have a day job that is not actually filmmaking. So it's like I might DJ and things like that.
Oh,
And
cool.
I know Bonnie from a place where we will host corporate team building events here and there and stuff like that. So we got to know each other over the course of that and just driving to and from events and
Right
you
on.
know clicked really well and have uh, good skill sets that merge together and we learned a lot on this shoot though.
Well, I
So
mean, I tell people all the time three things. Don't shit where you eat.
uh,
Don't be an asshole. Network, network, network. Those are the three
right,
things to do anything in this world. If you do any of those three
well,
things, you'll do much better on planet Earth.
for sure. And the thing about networking, I used to be so like networking.
Because it sounds like the hey, schmooze, oh wait, how about you?
Uh,
What can you do for me? Can you do this for me? Yeah.
right, exactly, and that's where it doesn't work. It's that
Yeah.
right. That's where it starts to feel
That's why I
gross.
left Las Vegas.
Oh, I bet. Um, but the somebody at some point was like, I feel like it was somebody famous on a podcast who was like, they're like, you know, networking is making friends.
Yeah.
You're not trying to find out what they can do for you. You're trying to make friends.
Yes.
Like, and we've all made friends. We know how to make friends. So it's like, if you click with somebody, and then, well, that's the person to talk to about like, how can we help each other? What can we do for each other? Maybe we can work together and do something cool, or I have this or that that can help you, or you have this, or and start it from a what do I have that can help you, as opposed to what can you do for me thing. And then it just becomes, then you're not trying it, at least for me, it feels much more authentic. And it's like, okay, well, sure, I would love to be, best friends with George Miller or whatever, he's doing a talk down here, and it's like, but like, the odds of me becoming friends with George, and otherwise it's just like, what can you do for me, George? You have the power to get my movies made. It's like, no,
They
that's
hired a
BS.
Hannah Gatsby for me because I need a special on Netflix. No, I mean,
Yeah,
gee,
right.
come
Exactly. It's
on.
like, hey, what's up?
Right. But yeah, I mean, really, if you're just good to people, man, the world just does better things for you in the long run anyway. So,
Right? It's like just be kind,
yeah.
It's like
Like
the
all the people in LA right now, one of the coolest things that have happened, I don't know if you're aware of what's going on in LA right now, but there's a lot.
a lot of people like I've only been gone for a week, but a lot of people have been saying, "Oh, what's up with going on in LA?" I'm like, "What's happening in LA
Well,
right now?"
basically, it's been, people were protesting a union member getting arrested by ICE. Uh,
Oh, okay.
And they were gently, quietly protesting with music and signs, and suddenly an orange menace came in and brought the Marines. And a lot of us veterans are not happy about it. And some of the Marines are also not happy about it.
A lot
Um,
of them are. happy about it.
Yeah, the problem is when you're dealing with fascists, you got to do what the fascists do. However,
Of course.
we make an
It's
oath to our Constitution and not to the fascists. So that's why there's a
ah.
little bit of a conflict going on. So it's going to be an interesting next few days happening in LA. But
That,
today,
that is
their big protest was they launched a lot of salsa music. So people are dancing in the streets as part of their protest, which I think is gorgeous. It's so smart.
okay.
It's just beautiful.
It's
God,
just a party, man. Just a
yeah,
block party.
shooting the rubber bullets at me for dancing. That makes you look good. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No, that's great. That's crazy because multiple people have asked me that in the last couple days. Like they're like, "Oh, what's going on with LA?" And I'm like, "I mean, like what?" And they're like, "Oh, there were the fires." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that was extremely difficult and challenging, and that and then but that's I don't think what they're
That's not what
talking
they're
about."
talking about. No, they're talking it's not the Rodney King story either, so it's not that going on anymore. Back in 91.
Oh man, where's that happening in downtown or where
Yeah, it's
they?
actually it's one of the addresses was down by Compton and one of the I mean it's not even big areas. It's little tiny areas, but Fox News is making it look like it's big areas. It's like 2 or 3 blocks and down by the Union Hall and that's it.
Gotcha.
Dog is scratching my green screen. It's hilarious. I don't know what's going on. Very weird. If you hear strange noises, we're not having an earthquake. It's my dog digging. But yeah, it's
Or the
really,
aliens
yeah.
coming through the Aurora Borealis.
She's calming. She's a werepoodle. So that's an entirely different movie. But yeah, I mean, it's just really strange to me that, this world is tough enough. The world is tough enough. We don't need to be fighting each other over stuff. And what I adore is that the people that are protesting are doing everything they can to prove that they're not doing anything bad. And the bad
Yeah.
guys, the guys wearing the uniforms, and, I'm with them.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you're missing it
Oh
all.
man, I have to do some digging here. I've just been in film festival world down here,
Oh,
watching movies.
I know there's lots of popcorn though. Is the popcorn better in Australia?
Really?
Did they give it to you in upside down cups? No.
Oh, really?
No.
They have a little popcorn tubs. I mean, I don't usually don't get popcorn, but
So
okay,
what's your next
don't
project
tell
going to
anyone
be?
A
No?
list. I never actually buy buy
Oh,
concessions.
people should freely give you stuff as a director and a guru of the film.
All
So,
right. Well, we'll find out. Tonight's the first
tonight's your big premiere.
the Australian premiere of the movie is tonight, which is tomorrow night there, but tonight here, whatever. And
Yes,
so
I'm
we'll
in a
see.
TARDIS right now. So those who don't know, I'm actually talking to him a day behind. From
That's
yes,
true. This is a time traveling Zoom we're
that's
having right
right.
now.
In fact, as we speak, I'm actually talking to another person that I have an appointment with at 11 o'clock in the morning. Your my time, which would be yeah, yeah, mine.
I know. I took off on the at 11 o'clock on the night of the 1st of June and landed on the morning of the third without ever having seen the sunrise
And
in
it's
between.
fall.
And and June 2nd is my dad's birthday, so technically I
Aw.
did not exist in time on my dad's birthday, but I will have the 18th twice. Um, so it's gonna be nuts. It's
Do you
nuts.
have a
It's
do you
nuts.
have a current project in the works, or are you just hoping that this one will bring enough funds to make your next project happen?
I mean, this one, we're talking to distributors for this movie, and definitely being very thorough to make sure, because a lot of independent movie distributors are criminals. I'm
Yeah.
just gonna say it flat out. They literally don't pay. They hide expenses that they don't have, and you can't,
Administration fees.
yeah, and I know people who've even vetted, yeah, audited companies, proven that they are owed money, and the company still doesn't pay them. It's like, well, what are you going to do? Sue us? I mean, it's like it's going to cost you, like literally.
Cost you more
So
to sue them than it was, but it's the principle. Yeah.
I know. So, but so we've been talking to some good ones that we vet and talk to other filmmakers they're like, yep, they pay on time and stuff. So, we're narrowing that down. Once I have one picked out, I'm going to start spending more time focusing on one of my two other scripts. The scripts are ready to go in the sense that like it's time to like let's try and bring in financing, and then once you find a location, you have to rewrite for the locations and stuff like that. But so yeah, so there's two different movies. One's called Mojave Massacre, and the other one's called Miss Mary Madness.
Ooh.
So
That's a lot of
fun.
M.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of M's
You
in
got
this
some
movie.
alliteration going on there.
Yeah,
We're
hey, I'm
just
like a
thinking
little.
one day,
This should be called Mate Mom Mill Bully.
Yeah, exactly. It's like meet you in the morning.
Straight sun sill sorning. I don't know.
Now, why did you spell till that way instead of until?
It's interesting. There's two different ways to do straight on to morning.
Yeah,
There's the one with the apostrophe TIL, which is of
yes,
course short for until, and
until.
then there's this. And
Till, I think of
uh,
tilling the soil and
oh, funny. Yeah, technically, is both versions are correct.
cool.
And we did this, I think, because we're like apostrophes are going to get confusing,
And they're
and
hard to put in a title on on the internet.
yeah, so it really came down to something like that because for a long time it definitely felt wrong to me, um, but in fact, and I think this is actually how it's spelled in Peter Pan.
There you
Uh,
go. There you go. And when you start
um,
listening to the Kate Bush song, if you haven't yet, you got to listen to the Kate Bush's Peter Pan. So
yeah,
you're singing that lyric, and it just gives you chills.
I know. Then we can run up the hill, right?
Yes, and then you can run up the hill. That's the R movie. So you look like right now that you have flaming red hair, which actually I do, but it's covered in
Oh, I
this.
do. Oh, yes, Caitlin's room.
Yes, so you have Caitlin as your flaming hair. Um,
Yeah.
do you have anything you'd like to tell the Portland audiences before I let you escape and have your day?
Oh yeah, I guess that's true. We've been talking for a while. It's been fun. Um, yeah, the no Portland, yay, Portland horror. Thanks so much for watching the movie. If you're up here watching the movie, I feel like this could be an introduction on the screen.
And
Maybe
it's
talk
going
to
to be on the
Glenn.
14th, so maybe I'll give it to Gwen and she'll put it as an introduction for the screen.
Yeah, maybe I'll do it. I'll do it like that. I'll be like, I'm gonna do it as if I'm talking to them specifically. Um, Hi, Portland horror. How are you doing? Thanks so much for coming out to see Straight On Till Morning, a romantic horror movie full of romance and horror. Hey, whoa, amazing. I appreciate, honestly, I appreciate anybody who comes out and sees it, and I hope they enjoy it. If you love it, give it a review on Letterboxd. If you don't, please don't. Like, it took 15 and a half years to make. Like, you can hate it in private, but like, it's like whenever I see a movie that I don't like it at a film festival, so I'm not going to give it a bad review. Like, I mean, people worked really hard. They put their heart and soul into it, even if it's, you know, whatever. I'm not gonna do that. So I appreciate it if you don't do that. I don't know why I'm at whatever. But honestly, I hope people enjoy the movie and get something, enjoy the ride and enjoy the maybe hopefully it causes some conversation afterwards. And feel free to reach out to me on the socials at Craigo Film on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, and let me know what you thought. And happy to answer questions about it. And yeah, no, I'm just I'm grateful to be playing there and had such a good time there in 2021. And definitely go to the Devil's. I think it's called the Devil's Den with Stripperoki. Is that where you should go?
Oh
It's
yeah,
a
yeah. I don't
Devil's
know if it's still
Playpen.
there. Devil's Playpen. I don't know if it's still there.
Devil's Play. Anyway, last time I was there, I'm like, oh, I think it was a Sunday night. This was sort of, still sort of pandemic time, so they have a lot more going on now than then. And I was like, oh, what's there something to do? And they're like, you could go do stripperoke at the Devil's Playpen. It may be the wrong name. Look it up. Devil's Playpen. Where it's like you sing the karaoke songs that the strippers strip to.
It's
And I
too.
was like,
Yeah.
that has to happen.
It's one
That
of
has
the
to
most
happen.
amazing things in the world.
Yeah.
And also
So
the
like you
food
stand
trucks.
in that little box on the corner of the stage so they don't kick you when they spin around the pole because it's a tiny little stage.
You
And I
speak
think
from experience.
yeah, yeah. They're like, don't move. You got to stand right there. So I did hot here, which may be too on the nose. And then get low. So it was pretty funny to have people, taking off their clothes and spinning around a pole and lighting their nipples on fire. Um,
Again.
yeah,
Mom.
right. Every time I karaoke. Um, anyway, enjoy that. That's what I have to say to the Portland audience. Enjoy all the movies. Have a great time. Say hi to Bonnie Jean Tyre and Max Solomon if you see them. And feel free to send me a message and enjoy Stripperoke.
Well, you have been absolutely fabulous, Craig. Don't leave when I'm signing off. I just want to say thank you to everybody for watching with the Portland Horror Film Festival, trademark 2025, and the Antisocial Horror Ish Show for coming out and watching us. And hopefully you'll add these find Craig Willett films to your experience on YouTube like I did. And you can also be sure to see Straight On Till Morning, which doesn't have a bunch of M's in it.
That's right. Those are the next movies.
That's
Prepare
the
for the
next
end.
movies.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. Thanks so much for the really fun interview.
Well, thank you for being had. And okay, America, we'll see you next time.